It's that time of the month.
Yes, that time.
And what do you think, Keri?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Of the stats?
Yeah. You excited about them? I'm excited about them.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Can you tell how excited she is?
I'm so
Well,
excited.
I think she's going to do a dance later. I'm going to make her, because sometimes I'll catch her, she'll be humming to the music in her head.
Yeah.
I'll catch you every now and again.
I
like,
do.
You have a constant music play. You have a constant, like Apple Music going on in your brain.
I do. There's just always some kind of song up in my head playing.
You'll see her. She'll be sitting at a desk and she'll be singing something. And it's so...
It's true.
And if you happen to catch a dance in the middle of this, it's okay. But anyway, it's February, and what a wild... We're capping off a wild year.
Yeah, it's March.
We'll do
We're
February
doing
stats.
February.
It is March, right? It is March. So
Yes.
March is, I always call it the Ides of March.
Yeah.
Not my favorite month. Gotta say, it's not. I've historically, and if everybody knows the Ides of March, it's the Ides of March. We're going to be talking about the Ides when it comes to real estate stats anyway. Mm-hmm. But the Ides of March is from the Roman Empire when Julius Caesar was assassinated. It was actually on the Ides are technically the 15th of March, but I consider the whole month of March the Ides, because it's the funny thing about March. It's like the change of season.
Yeah, it's like that.
So like it's like
transition.
Yeah. So like usually bad weather. Some other bad things.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
It just comes with an assortment of bad things.
Yeah. I just like St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, you went to. So anybody go out there to? I got to put my glasses on, obviously. Anybody go out to you went out to
The
Forest
parade.
Avenue, right?
Yeah, on the 3rd.
And you said it was quite the show.
It was good.
A lot of people.
Oh yeah, a lot of people.
I did not go. I can no longer handle.
There's always
what, next year?
next year, and they actually have one this Sunday too.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little long in the teeth on that one. But long in the tooth for doing those. I don't know if I can make it to work the next day.
I did.
Yeah, I know you did. I know. But anyway, what we're going to be talking about is not the Bitcoin rally. If everybody knows what's going on, that's a topic we'll be discussing on Friday. For anybody with that, yeah. We actually had a home purchaser give his proof of funds in Bitcoin. That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
And anybody who doesn't know anything about Bitcoin, it reached all-time highs at 70. I think when I went on, it was like about $72,500. And just to think, I was doing a live. I remember doing a live like this back in 2015. And it was only about $1,500 or $1,300, and we were laughing because it like really crashed. And it was like we're like, who would buy this stuff? Now it's like you have places like you have BlackRock ETFs. I mean, you have all these funds. Mm-hmm. So anybody, I don't want to get into the specifics of that, but we got quite a few people logging in.
We'll do that.
So we're going to look at the stats on Staten Island. What's going on and what's the deal? What's going on with prices and what's going on with prices, because we have seen something we haven't seen either. Mm-hmm. We did see it in New Jersey, and we finally saw it here. This is the second month running where prices came down just a smidgen. Mm-hmm. So prices did come down on Staten Island just a little bit. So let's get into those numbers. Let's see what the numbers look like for you guys, because I think that what the numbers are really going to tell us is what the future. Obviously, I mean, we got a whole bunch of people logging in here. It's like it's really like
hi guys.
It's really like we're getting quite a bit, but we're going to get into this into these numbers because. And if you guys are just watching for the first time, we do these numbers once a month. We'll be doing New Jersey stats next month. Next week.
Yes.
Yes. And obviously this is February, so we do the January numbers. We don't have the February numbers. Not everything sold, obviously. So this is the March report for February.
Yes.
So let's get into the details, Keri. What do we got here?
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off with the average days on the market.
Average days on the market, a leading indicator.
Yes. So the average days on the market slightly increased from 75 days to 82 days month over month. That's
Yes.
A 9.33%
Increase.
change.
Yeah, so things have stayed on the market just a slight bit more. Now, I want to say this with a degree of caution. The 8% rates had a profound effect on the market. I will tell you, like from our perspective, is when we talk about the 8% interest rate right now, it has really. It turned things like into crickets. It was almost scary to the point where, like, I mean, there was almost no activity. Yeah, you got a whole plethora of people like marching in. So the March numbers, I mean, last month's numbers were showing, again, it was a slight decline in prices. It's the second straight month where it's been a smidgen. But the interesting thing is the amount of houses that are on the market month over month, year over year, continues to slide downward. And the pressure is on to buy. Like people would expect. This is so uncommon a market. Now, I've been doing the stats now running for about 14 years. And I've been doing these stats for a while. So we look at these things and we're like, nothing makes sense. So I will tell you that from the start. Nothing about what we're reading here is going to make sense from the fundamental. It's very rare that you see like prices, even at this level, where maybe 1% difference in prices is pretty much negligible. So we'll say basically things are stable. But it's rare. This is not a time when you see like house prices an upward trajectory and inventory coming down at the same time. That's not. I could probably, if you go back into history, you probably never saw it. It's never happened, which makes this. It's making the predicting of markets, including Wall Street, and people like the economy isn't great. Why is Wall Street doing great?
Yeah.
There's a lot of money sloshing around from the COVID money. It's like it never found a place, and it seems to be like it circulates through the economy. So with inflation, unfortunately, one of the things that happens is the disparity of what people make. So inflation, hard assets become much more expensive to common people because, like, what happens is that the affordability index is very high, and what's happened is that because people can't afford housing, because it's accelerated wage growth, and because it's accelerated wage growth, you have these people, you don't have the volume, but you have the increase in price. And I don't know if anybody said this before, but that's typical. That's not a good harbinger because we have some headwinds coming up with the Fed rate decision later this month on interest rates. Anybody who knows anything about banking is having a hard time now with liquid capital on hand. Obviously, if anybody's been watching, New York Community Bank had to be bailed out this week.
Yeah.
It did not have enough in reserves to cover withdrawals, and that's a problem. And this is a continuing problem, I think. And why I'm talking about this because it's going to be a harbinger. We want to give you a predictive scenario, and we'll sum it up with the final scenario at the end.
Yes.
But let's continue with the numbers. So, Keri, yes, month's inventory. I could just ramble. Month's inventory is up. Month's inventory is down. The days on the market is up.
Yeah.
Total of a year-over-year difference. A month-over-month difference of nine days.
That's days on the market.
Yes.
The month's inventory is up month over month also, though. 31%.
That's a month-over-month inventory. So the month's inventory, the total month's inventory for February is, so that, to give you an idea what month's inventory is, it's how many, the volume of sales, how much it would take if nothing went on the market today for all that inventory to sell off.
Yeah.
So the month's inventory stands at 6.15. Wow, that's up quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's up substantially. So this is not, so For homeowners, that means houses staying on the market for quite a bit longer. January is down to 4.96, so it's a 31% change from month over month. That's probably the most significant change in this report that we have. So the biggest change we have in this report is the month's inventory has increased 31% month over month. Now that's notable. So that means that, and because the volume of sales has not, sold listings were also down for the month.
25% month over month.
25%, which is seasonal to the degree. February is the lowest sale month of the year. So when you look at the seasonal numbers, if you look through the course of maybe like the 2 months that the lowest volume of sales happen is in February, January, February, March it starts picking up, and then obviously, but year over year it's down. That's the key. It's down 6% year over year as well, and that's where it's down 2.46 year over year.
Yeah, the sold listings are down.
So that's again why you're seeing a little bit of a change in. This is wild stuff, man. This is just. If you read this report, I mean, I've been doing. This is like. So we're at 6 months inventory, which, believe it or not, in typical terms, we usually look at the 6 month number, months inventory, to be the between the buyers and sellers market. Usually buyers markets start at 6 months and over, like the buyers, it's dead even. If we looked at it from a fundamental standpoint, but so February, it was so from January to February, you're talking from 4 months to 7 months, and 4 months to 6 months, excuse me. Wow, that's just 31%. All right, so guys, the leading indicator there is that there's houses that are staying on the market now for a little bit longer. But if you ask anybody today, I think that's going to change, and that's because, I don't know, I mean, the sentiment I have is that we have a lot of houses right now that seem they're still, because of the inventory situation we have, there's still multiple offer situations. Maybe not as robust, but everything is so interest rate dependent. And I'm going to tell you this right now, that this is one of the more volatile real estate markets you will ever find. So when I talk about markets, like, you don't see volatility in real estate prices typically, but in this environment you do. I've seen in certain cases from week to week it could change as much as 4%.
Yeah.
I mean, where it's like you have multiple bids and then rates pop up to maybe a little over 7, and then it drops, and then it's like nothing happens. And that's not typical. Usually real estate follows a very strong trend line, and everything's slow to kind of usually progress. It's not the case now. The volatility, just if the rates drop 0.5%, you're talking about numbers that will absolutely fly off the charts as far as the pent-up demand that's out there. And we've seen it. As soon as those rates start ticking down to maybe just under 7, 6.6. It was 6.6 a few weeks ago, and the demand just shoots through the roof, and it causes prices to rise very quickly. So you could have a difference in. So if that rate drops like now, it's right around 7. It's just probably a little under 7 right now. Once those rates drop, it's all on. You basically have an entire. You're going to have bidding wars on houses, because there's still a very strong pent up demand. This is not the only reason that I could tell you that the month's inventory increase was because when this report is done, it's 3 months out usually before the closed sales start reporting. This is around the time 8% rates. So this report's a lagging indicator. So a lot of the stuff here is lagging. I would not use this to say that this is what's going to be moving forward, because I could tell you right now, just on our inquiry base, we've seen increase maybe 25-30% in the last couple of weeks. So it's definitely up, and I think these numbers will start reversing themselves. Here's the interesting thing, though, guys. I really want to get into this, but let's keep going on the numbers, because it goes into my final thesis into what's going on here.
There has been a decrease in both medium and average listing prices.
Yes.
How significant is this trend in the larger context of Staten Island real estate?
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
what are we at as far as numbers?
yes, the median average listing is down 2.72% month over month, and it's down 1.43% year over year.
So what it's basically saying is that sellers are hedging the market downward. So what they're doing is they're considering, when they're putting their house on the market right now, they're putting their house on the market with some degree of knowledge that things aren't as robust as they were, and to entice offers. So this is something that's a little on the stranger side again, which means that I think sellers are in tune to what's going on. So the decrease in the average on the average new listing price is, like, month over month is down like that 2%. Mm-hmm. So people they're responding to the market. So it was at 770 and it's now at 750, right? 770, and then dropped to 751.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So 751,221 to be exact. Mm-hmm. So, but it coincides with the sale price, which is still up over 700. I did these reports back when the average sale price of Staten Island was 360.
Wow.
360. It would drop as low as 300. I think in 2010 it was the lowest. At
really?
362,000 was in 2010.
Oh my God.
So watching it at the sold average being at 712. So it's basically double.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think of it that long ago, like 2010. 14 years is not, that's double. So prices have basically, you've made 100% on a house. If you bought in the lowest part of the market, 2010, if you're out there and you sold in 2010, this may be the time, because it's probably no point, that was the absolute bottom. It took, and the funny thing is like people always equate like the 2008 housing market to be the worst of it. It didn't finish its cycle downward until 2010. So it took a whole 2 years to finish the cycle downward before things started reversing. So actually the worst of it was actually in 2010, where it was like 365. But there was, just for the record, there was about 4,000 houses on Staten Island for sale at that time. 4,000 houses on the market.
4,000.
What do we have now? 1,000?
We have 1,200.
12. So we have a quarter, not even a quarter. It's not like less than a quarter of the houses on the market than we had back then. So that's why people who that is a housing market crash coming, you can't have it. It won't happen. It can't happen with that number. And it keeps decreasing. Month over month, it's down another, active listings are down another 1.7%.
Yeah.
For the year, active listings are down almost 20%. 20% decrease in the amount of active listings. So year over year, you're talking about a quarter of the market is basically disappeared. So without inventory, you can't have price adjustments, and that's really what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. Without the inventory of houses coming on the market, you will not have an adjustment in prices, even with the rates that there's been some we talked about it earlier. There's been some drawdown to prices, a little tiny bit. It was down 1.64% month over month.
Yeah.
It was still up for the year, almost even at about 0.5% total on the average sold. On the
average sale. On
the average sale, right? So it was it was 0.164 month over month. So that's the resulting that came from the result of interest rates again. I do not expect it to stay there. I expect that to uptick. And this is why we're going to get where I think we're going to go from here. Because I think these numbers are going to really be indicative of like what's going to happen come June. Because there's some headwinds, not in real estate, but in prices. Prices, and I think prices may start to re-accelerate again. But the question is still like, it's kind of like a difficult question to figure totally out. So what's the next number we're looking at?
The next number that we are looking at are the pending listings.
Again, pending listings.
Pendings and sold.
So pending listings are houses that are in contract currently.
Yes. So that's also down, both year over year and month over month. Year over year, it's down 6.43.
So year over year is down 6.43. 5.42% of that happened in just 1 month. Mm-hmm. So that shows you how much the interest rates affected pending sales. Mm-hmm. So of the 6.43% decrease, 5.42 is actually 5% of that just came in 1 month. So you're talking a significant, again, interest rate driven, and interest that dampened the market quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I do think that may change a bit in the coming months, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, you think that these are all seasonal, or that it's just something? Something else?
I think it's some of it's seasonal. It's just it's a market that's on some type of like the market is just not. It's really just not for most people to understand it's not typical. And one of the biggest predictors of like where our house is going to go is like we all look at these factors, leading indicators, trailing indicators, where it goes from here. But the biggest problem I'm finding is that a lot of the numbers we're seeing right now, that we're dealing with such a small, first of all, we're doing a small sample size in terms of like how many actually houses are selling, because we're only talking about 1,200 houses being on the market.
Yeah. And
like I said, in 2010 it was about 4,000, to give you some contrast. So it's really just, to me, it's astounding to say the least that you're not gonna. It makes it for a much more volatile market. So I know when I talk about volatility, meaning your prices can change within a week, very quickly, just on rates, and you can't kid yourself here. It will change. Your price can be adjusted on rates, maybe upwards of 3 to 4%. I've seen it. It's just in a week, because as soon as that rate ticks down, just like you start going like, because rates start coming down to 6.6, so like where they were. You saw the market; it just took off. I mean, we had a few houses in New Jersey. We couldn't even, the ink wasn't even dry, and it was gone, like this, gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even, it's like, wow, and the funny thing is that some of those listings expired.
Oh, they were
expired. I mean, they were on the market and didn't sell, and in 1 month, gone. I know, that's Keri doing those tours. She drives the whole entire.
No.
Yeah, she's being modest. Anyway, but that's how it goes. I mean, this is wild stuff to see. To be really, I mean, I'm just like, it's a lot to kind of. Every time I read these reports, the more just astounded I am by them.
I know. Every time you're like, wow.
Yeah. You do the stats every day, though. Every 2 days.
Yes, I do.
And we listen to Keri do the stats, and one of the things we've heard for. I mean, we're going on almost. Is it going on? We're coming like on 2 years.
Yeah.
Holy.
I
know you that long, Keri?
Yeah, 2 years. August.
Has it been fun?
It has been fun, yes.
Have you enjoyed this wild ride?
I love it. I love it here.
But it's always interesting to say the least when it comes to doing these stats. I mean, do we have anything else to go over? Because I really want to sum it up.
That's just about everything.
Yeah?
Yeah, just
Because
Yeah.
before we went on, it was like, Keri was like, oh, there's nothing too notable about
really.
like this report. I mean, the biggest thing was the month's inventory number.
yeah.
So that was a notable thing in this report. Month's inventory jumped 31.13%, and that's basically because of interest rates. I expect that number to decrease over the next couple of months as rates have fallen back just under 7, I believe, right now. And don't quote me, I'm not a mortgage person, you know. We won't quote you on that. But let's talk about what this means, where we go from here, because this is some interesting developments. And that's really what I want to touch on, because this is where the spring market and what's happening with the spring market, what the heck is going on with Wall Street. Obviously, we're at a very critical inflection point in the markets in general, because I think the Fed is trying to curb inflation, and unfortunately, and if you've listened to these before, I've said it, I don't think their ability to curb inflation at this point is doable. I think they're running out of ways to curb inflation without creating a serious banking crisis, which is not really spoken about, but I do believe exists. It's kind of like there's banks are having a hard time with liquidity. Obviously, with the closing of New York Community Bank, not closing, they needed a bailout. I believe it was $100 billion, and they had some loans go bad. But this is a problem, and I think the Fed has said that this week that there's more banks scheduled to fail. And here's the reason. They rose rates so quickly that the assets on the bank's books, like Treasury notes, some of them are at 3.5%. And the deposits that come in have to be paid out at 4.5%, 5%, maybe 5.5%. They can't, the inflow and outflows cannot meet, it can't, because, part of liquidity the bank keeps on its books is Treasury notes. And most of the Treasury notes, because we were at zero for so long, and they keep Treasury bills, a lot of banks do, keep Treasury bills as a way to, if they need liquidity, they could go and sell them on the open market and get liquidity but when your yield is on those Treasury notes are at 3%, and you have to put them on a market where you could buy new issue Treasury notes at 4.2, 4.1, you're talking about maybe a half a point, 3/4 point difference. And what happens is they have to sell them at a discount. So that means they're actually losing money on most of the reserves that they have. This is continuing to be, plus the advent of bad loans. Again, in the commercial sector, there's big problems in the commercial sector. Not spoken about much, but there's big problems in commercial real estate sector, not in the residential. So the commercial sector had a lot of, after COVID, returned to office, never returned to office. And a lot of these buildings, I think in most of the major metro areas, most of the office space, not in most, I think it's around 30% of all office space. You could fill, I believe they said that in New York City, there's about 17 Empire State Buildings vacant.
Wow.
It would equate. That's how much vacant space is in New York City. And the landlords or the people who purchase these places are making the bills, and they're literally just turning the keys over to the bank. The bank has to sell them for pennies on the dollar, but they hold the notes, and they run out of liquidity. It's kind of like, in essence, it's a little bit like the way 2008 happened. So these loans were given on commercial properties that there was going to be an estimated, the banks, they've had business relationships. Some of them were questionable lending across, again, in the commercial area. So they were doing some questionable commercial loans. And it's affecting your bank. So regular depositors bank, and we saw last year SVB Bank went out. And there's some others that are rumored to be on the fence. You just don't hear about it in the news. They don't want to spread panic.
No. Yeah.
We're going to get shut off on Facebook now. We may get censored.
Oh no.
There's a problem with liquidity at the banks. We're not going to tell you. I'm not going to be the person. You know, you go do a Google search on it. You'll find it yourself. So I don't want to get into that because I am no way to be an expert in how these banks operate. But it's a crisis on the banking side that it should be thought of. The Fed will have to lower interest rates in the coming months. There is no doubt about it. Regardless of what inflation does, they have no choice in the matter. I've said this before. You cannot go into the markets right now and say you could hold rates here because where things are going, it's happening too quickly, and you know it's literally there's quantitative tightening, so they're shrinking the money supply. Obviously, you've heard of thousands of layoffs across the board in many sectors. The tech sector has been absolutely decimated. I had talked about layoffs a year ago, that it was going to be, that was the thing that the Fed was trying to accomplish, because wage inflation they felt was a problem. But they've really, I mean, the amount of layoffs that have happened in the last few months, which does give me a little bit of anxiety about what could happen with housing when you have that many layoffs. They're saying the unemployment number is 3.9. Is it? I don't know. I'm not. I don't. You know, I guess you get a good consumer sentiment. You just put your ear to the wall, and you could hear a lot of people screaming about what it is in the job market right now. So to be like, I'm sure you know people.
Yes.
And it's impossible to find anything.
Yeah.
They're even hiring delivery drivers at this point, because it's like because of inflation and the interest rates have driven up costs so much that most people they just can't afford it. And it's not like during the COVID days where money just flew around. You could just go and buy whatever you wanted because the Amazon trucks were ripping. They were ripping during that time.
Yeah.
I know, Keri used to have an Amazon truck. She used to know the Amazon people by first name.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Mask and all. But anyway, the big thing is that the numbers for the Fed fund rate are going to come down. I think they'll wait. They're not going to do it in March. They might. It may be a surprise announcement that they're going to do it sooner. Some people have put that they're going to push the rates. But once that happens, guys, the interest rate, you know, the Treasury notes are going to drop in yield. And this is why you're seeing the rise in Bitcoin. There's a lot of people who are playing the fact that the cycle has run its course. And people are like, oh, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is basically a hedge on inflation. And I think what most people expected is that they're not going to be able to put it under as much control as they'd like to, because it's like you either have to take one bad or the other. You could either have it really go bad and put a lot of people out of work and a lot of business shutdowns and a whole bunch of things, or, you know, because what's going to happen is as soon as these rates drop, and housing being a factor in the inflation rate, I do expect house prices to rise again. I don't see any way. So you're going to see it again, but it may be a smaller segment of the population because the housing affordability for most people is out of range. So it's going to be a weird, strange time, I think, in the next few months just to see how this plays out, because there's no crystal ball on this. I could tell you, you know, you think like there's so many factors that could play into, but you're going to have inflation. We're going to have to be, you know, the dollar is going to inflate, I believe, overall, because they can't, the banks cannot withstand. I don't think they're really at like a wit's end to say that they want to continue this anymore. But you got people used to making a certain amount of money.
Yes.
So they printed, when you look at the money supply, and it's very easy to see. When you look at the money supply over COVID, you're looking at And I think it was $2 trillion was injected, and then you've lifted people on that idea, and how do you deflate that without deflating everybody's basically quality of life to a degree that they're not going to be comfortable with, and that's that's where they are, and I just think the scary part is like, because once I've seen it, once they drop those interest rates, boy. The housing market is just, it's like, when you're talking about inventory levels like this, and then you lower the interest rate, yeah, you'll get a few more things on the market. No, I don't think it's going to be, again, how many people could actually afford to do it. It's just going to create a little bit more, house prices probably go up a bit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they wait till June to do it. Hopefully they'll kind of maybe suppress the spring season with house buying, and which is seasonally a busy time, and it's going to be interesting. This is going to be one interesting year. So I will tell you this: I think house prices will be climbing going to the spring. So I really believe that now.
Yeah.
I think it's going to continue to increase, and I think. With the expectation of the Fed cutting rates, you can see the yield curve change. So back downward to maybe, I bet you by the time we get to the end of this month, it'll probably be under 4% on the Treasury bill. 10-year Treasury, which is what the mortgages go based on, should drop. So you gonna be buying a house, Keri?
No, not anytime soon.
We're gonna have to. Prodigy Real Estate's gonna have to buy Keri a house.
Okay.
That'll be a Christmas bonus.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Keri a house. But anyway, the big thing, like I said, that's this report for the month.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Next week we'll have New Jersey. That's gonna be interesting too.
Yeah.
New Jersey saw the first. We did it last month, right? The first decline.
Yeah.
In prices, but it's over. I can tell you right now, it's over. There is nobody. The market there is basically, it's on the way up again. It's insane. New Jersey is it's one of the top states for sales. New Jersey continues its ascent into, the house prices are almost paralleling Staten Island now. It used to be like you went over the bridge for a discount.
Yeah.
Now you go over the bridge, you have to go 60 miles south for a discount. So you're almost into Falcon River here. Yeah. I know you know where that is. No.
No. I know.
You know where Long Beach Island is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
of course.
It's south. Falcon River is just south of it. But yeah, it's and we're moving people out there too. So
yes.
Anyway, that's our report for today, and we will be talking. What are we talking about on Friday, Keri? We gotta make this fun. Because Keri, like, her and financial, I try to get her into Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think
I have it. I mean, and look.
I tried.
She tried.
I did.
She did
I'm a little scared though.
Hail Mary.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are. It's scary. It's like, how do you say? Everybody that I've known, I was hesitant too.
Yeah.
So when somebody told me to do it, I said, I'm not buying that stuff. I'm not buying that crap. It's garbage. Mm-hmm. And then you start reading behind the reasons why, and then you see what's going on today. It was almost like it was a premonition.
Mm. Yeah, you love
the man predicted this would happen.
Yeah.
With inflation. And he says that you got to create something different, and here we are. So we'll get into what Keri is going to be talking about. I'm going to let her do all the talking. That should be fun.
Oh, next week?
This Friday.
This Friday. Well.
Yeah. And then Vic, who's the crypto man in the office. He's like Mr. Crypto himself. He could talk about the fundamentals of because like I said, we saw a house purchase this week. And the guy was hesitant to make an offer with his Bitcoin because he thought it was going to go up more.
Aww.
He's like, I don't know if I want to sell my Bitcoin now. So that's the funny thing. Would you rather live in your car or own a Bitcoin? which appreciates faster, a house or Bitcoin? So to give you a perspective, if you bought a house in 2010 and you bought Bitcoin in 2010, basically if you bought like a single Bitcoin you've made at 1,000, just you're talking about like a 7,000% return on the investment. So if you bought a Bitcoin instead of a house in 2010, you're a multi-millionaire now.
Wow. Well, I was 10, so I couldn't.
Yeah, you could have.
I could.
That's the funny thing with Bitcoin. I don't think there's an age limit.
Oh, no?
Did it ask you if you're 18 if you wanted to purchase it?
No.
Oh, okay. And then maybe Friday I'll have new glasses. I can't stand these things. I was told, for the record, that this is not in.
No.
The square,
Yes, these
the
are
square. Oh, right. I gotta get
the round.
the Keri
big.
brand glasses.
Like goggles, yeah.
Like goggles?
Yeah.
That's just what I need. I don't know if I have a face for goggles. I don't know. Do I have a face for goggles? I don't know. But anyway, what is the latest? I saw them when I went there. When I went to the eyeglass place.
You saw the goggles?
Yeah. But I have to put my glasses on because I got to read numbers that you could
Really?
see.
They're like size of ants. Yeah.
Keri's a Generation Z. They don't know how to blow things up in paper. Only on the screen.
Yeah. I'm like, printing? I don't know that.
We got to expand the printing machine to print the bigger size? How do we do that? This is one of the things, this is the dinosaur. In the age of ChatGPT and all that stuff, this is still one thing that comes up. Maybe we'll get it on like a glass screen so like we could see like.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Like they have these new things. It's really cool. But anyway, that's our report. If you have a question or a comment, or drop us a hint in the box.
Yes.
And we'll see you in a week. Oh, we'll see you Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, and Keri's gonna do all the talking. I promise.
Yeah, guys.
Tune in. She has a lot to say.
Yeah, tune in Friday.
Tons and tons to say. So anyway,
All right.
I guess that'll be
That's
it for today.
Yes.
Ciao. Sign off.
Bye, guys.